Welcome back to the Office Marketing Podcast with Mike Swigert, the podcast all about sales tips, mindset, and value bombs. 5 questions to help make your day more productive and learn a thing or two. Here is your host, best-selling author, Mike Swigert.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Office Marketing Podcast. I'm so glad to have Greg Cox on the show today. Greg Cox has been a friend of mine for a very long time. We actually, in our pre-call, we're trying to figure out how far back our friendship went. And it's at least 12 or 13 years in the business. And Greg has been in the construction business for almost 20 years. And 3 years ago, he got the crazy idea that he was going to start his own business. And he's going to share with us a little bit of that vision, a little bit of his vision, a little bit of his experience. His experience really is very broad, guys. It goes from everything from LabCorp to Quest Diagnostics, Piedmont, Crocker, CB, Cushman, and we could just go on and on. Greg's touched a lot of different type of projects, and he's going to talk about really his business journey, his sales journey, and just his overall story. Greg, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. My vision here, getting in the commercial real estate world and construction, it's kind of interesting. I was an econ major at University of Georgia. So when I got out of school, I had a finance job all lined up and ready to go to work. And I think I had accepted the job actually. And I was at my sister's house one night, and it was in the summertime. And we got to talking, and she just was like, "Greg, I just cannot see you sitting at a desk all day long. I just can't see it. Why don't you talk to some of my good friends, in the general contracting world or real estate, and just see if it's a match?" So I did that, and didn't show up on the first day of work at my finance job, and got into the construction world and basically learned it hands-on in the field. I was in the field for my solid first year because I didn't know anything. I had to learn the drawings and just learn what I was doing. And I was matched up with some very seasoned senior guys, and, just learned it literally from the ground up.
All right, Greg, what was the very first, can you remember? What was the very first project you touched? Your day one, you don't know much about construction, if anything. What was it?
H. Stockton at Overton Park.
Cool. I knew you'd remember it. I knew you would. And what were you doing? What was H. Stockton doing? Were they just building the retail spot?
Yep. So that was when Overton was just coming out of the ground. I think might have been their first. I mean, they had a few projects going on, the anchor tenant, and then H. Stockton was right there on the ground floor, still there today. Just built the retail store.
So now you're going from retail, and who are you with at this point? Who was that you started out with?
That was Warren Hanks.
Okay, cool. All right. So with Warren Hanks, you're touching all kinds of fun stuff. What other jobs are you touching there?
Almost immediately after that, I went to Sanctuary Park for a little while, and then I got out at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Scottish Rite. And I was quasi working out of the hospital. I was in the office and out there at the hospital, both playing superintendent at the same time, simultaneously learning how to estimate, and great mentors over there that really helped me and taught me. To this day, I owe everything really to them. Their training program is kind of what I try to mirror here, because they did such a good job with me. Granted, I worked my tail off. I was pre-family. But I just didn't stop working. I was in the field doing bids, and then getting, audited, basically graded by guys that as seasoned as the folks, as Jim and Gene. I couldn't have asked for a better training program.
I have to agree. Any interaction I've had with Gene Warren has just been like, they just exude confidence, and I'm so glad that they were able to infuse a lot of that into you through those years.
No, I owe them. Like I said, they got me my start. They taught me what I know, and here we are.
Yeah,
they're great. They're great folks. So they have a heavy medical client base, which was great. I mean, if you know how to go build in a hospital, you can build anywhere. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get much more delicate than that. And that's where I learned. So, it's kind of Scottish Rite, bouncing back to some office, and about 2 years in, they were we got pretty busy, and they basically just said, okay, you're out of the field now. We need you as a project manager, estimator. And so from there, that's where my career really got rolling. Well, that, and when I transitioned over to the real estate side, CB Richard Ellis, that was, I kept thinking, oh, I can be the CM side. I can control it. I can be in charge of a general contractor and the architect and all that. And I wanted a taste of that. So I got it. And it was a demanding job. It was great, very rewarding. The people there again, pick your places of employment carefully. CB Richard Ellis is fantastic. I mean, you got all sorts of very high level guys, very smart people. I got to find out what makes a deal happen. What does the broker need to happen to get this deal done? What's, the landlord, and then how it all, when the rubber meets the road with the architect and the property manager, which GCs really man this thing, which GC can I put into this Class A building, which, I don't need to necessarily have that particular GC in this Class B building, just
all the politics of everything, the pulling that curtain back from Oz. I don't know if people want to see how the sausage is made, right?
Right.
There's a lot. There's so many movement. Hey, I come from the lighting and the furniture, which is really two of the, you talk about making sausage. I think people just want to go, all right, does it look pretty? Do people want to work here? That's good, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And that's what makes you good, Mike. That's why you're so good. And you just get it done. They don't want to see it. Even if they want to see it, they might see it for a few minutes, but okay, never mind. I'm good. Just tell me when it's done.
Right.
And again, that was a big move for me to go to CBRE. And then I kind of got latched in with the laboratory work as a tenant rep PM, and I was traveling the country. A light week for me was 3 cities a week, bouncing to these different projects. And it was a lot. It was very demanding. I will say CB Richard Ellis folks worked their tail off. That was the hardest I've ever worked. It was very rewarding, though. It was good. It was great. I met a lot of great clients over there, some that I'm still really good friends with to today. So, that was, again, a very valuable stop for me along my journey. But then, life happened, and we had our first child on the way, and my wife and I needed to go back to not traveling so much. And so that I went back to the general contractor side. But again, going to the owner side to see how it all works from their angle and what they need out of a GC, and having that GC experience first, it was huge. It was great. So, and then obviously I've been a general contractor ever since.
All right. So we got to know what made you want to own your own business, though? I mean, you saw what everyone had been through. You obviously had great acumen, but really, do you want to be the one in charge of payroll every 2 weeks, Greg? What made you want to do it?
Mike, if I knew then what I know now, I don't know if I would have done. But no, honestly, my dad was a self-employed physician my entire life. And I didn't see him very much. He worked all the time. I saw him on the weekends. And if I was staying up late at night, but being a self-employed person, especially a doctor, if you don't work, you eat what you kill, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the background I grew up around. And he would always just say to me, Greg, you got to do your own thing. It's so rewarding. It's a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding. And if you're motivated and you have drive, the sky's the limit. And he just always was saying that. And, I can't give any more credit other than to him. Obviously, I see him every chance I can, and we hunt together, we fish together. We hang out a lot together. So, always being around that, you always have that birdie in your ear. Why don't you go do your own thing? My sister my sister is 10 years older than I am. She's doing her own thing. She had been for a while. And my brother was a physician at that time. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go. Let's do this. Let's finally strap it on. Let's get it done. So
what was it? So there's probably a lot of parents listening, right? And they're probably envious of your dad and what level of inspiration he put into his children. What were some of the things other than, you should have your own thing? I mean, what were some of the things that dad said that really helped you kind of have the confidence that you could do it?
Sports. You know, I played everything. I never stopped when I was growing up, and he always just thought I was a leader. And he was like, you know, you got that. Being a leader is the number one most important thing that you can do. Your teammates look up to you. You know, our house is always packed with all your friends wanting to come over here, and they all look to you. And you know, I don't really. I enjoy making other people look good. I got to be honest with you. I don't really boast about myself. At least I don't think I do that much. But he told me, you know, he's just always telling me that, and I kind of noticed it growing up, and I've just always kind of felt that way. And yeah, I guess what the answer is, Mike, is he put confidence in me, confidence that it wasn't just natural, you know. So hearing those words of encouragement, and you know, if your dad can't push you, I don't know who can. Football coaches can, but you know, your father, I mean, your parents, your mom, your dad, they're the ultimate, you know, coach.
That's great.
You know?
That's great. You know what, Greg, one thing I do love about your spirit, you really do have a servant's, sort of your disposition is really as a servant, as trying to serve. And you and I have worked very closely on projects together. And that's how we got to be friends first, is that, you know, you were the GC. I was probably a vendor on the job, and you have that. And I told you this earlier, is that like people that know you, you just exude that certain level of confidence. And that if I'm going to transfer trust to somebody, I want to transfer it to you. And it's really one of my favorite things about you. And it's not about bravado. It's really about, I just always love that about your spirit. And I think that's what your clients really pick up on, especially like a highly technical lab. And people are like, hey, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces here. We better get someone who can, you know, get stuff done. And I feel like you exude that. And maybe you got that from your dad, maybe you got it from your siblings, but you really carry that well, Greg.
Oh man, I appreciate it. I mean, you know, that's what we try to teach around here. I mean, I've been very fortunate with the guys I've been able to hire, guys and gals that I've been able to hire. That are, you know, just wanted to come here with me. I mean, they're fantastic. They know my vision. They share the vision. Some of them, I mean, it's funny. We can almost finish each other's sentences now. It's a great working environment. And, you know, I love these guys. I probably tell them that a little too often. They're like, Greg,
no,
but
it's
I do.
okay.
I love going to work. I love coming to work every day. Yeah. I kind of always have. I can't, you know, again, I've genuinely liked where I've worked in the past. And again, I've been fortunate to be around great people, great leaders. So just having it here and kind of having my own team and my own huddle. And, you know, I kind of feel like I insert myself as a peer. I mean, be very collaborative. I'm here as often as I need to be, and then some, just because, you know, if I can aid a little help along the way, that's just what I'm going to do. And that all goes back to serving our client, you know, and
well, now you're serving, but now you're serving your team. And I'll guarantee you, your team probably recognizes that same, you know, servant mentality that you do for your clients. I mean, that's you. Hey man, you're the one writing the checks. You're the payroll guy, right? So your job is to serve them, and they serve the clients. I mean, that's the magic of this.
Yeah. Really. And again, I mean, there's no, you know, our culture is not one built on an ego or egos. And that's what's so great about us, I think. And we want to, you know, just make our clients and our architects and owners look good. And if you make if you pick others up around you, you don't have to worry about yourself. You know, yourself, you'll look good. And that's what I can say.
I love it. All right, let's get into some good tips you can share with the audience, right? Someone's going into a project. They're trying to pick a GC. They're early on a job. They're even walking space, Greg. What are some things that they should be thinking about while they're touring spaces and when they're picking a general contractor for their project, whether it be a lab or an interior space?
Existing conditions.
All right. Okay.
besides the rent rate the landlord's going to offer you, if you go and you can, and I say this all the time, the sooner you can get, like I could get involved, the more I can help you. And I'm sure getting an architect on board early is also critical. But just identifying, first of all, where you want to be, logistically, what makes the most sense for your business. And for me, I mean, I'm pretty far away from where I live, but this building made sense because most of the staff that I had at the time was closer to here than if I were to do it in Sandy Springs. So there's a whole lot of factors that go into it. And then from a constructability side, obviously, just look at the existing building. Has it been kept up? Grab a GC, architect, engineer even, or you just grab a GC, bring them with you. Hey, what does this look like? I mean, I tell everybody I can do a lot more saving for you early. It's hard to do it late.
Like, hey, Greg, like even before they sign a lease?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We do that all the time.
That's great.
This episode of the Office Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Fusion Advisory. We help commercial contractors generate leads online profitably. Check us out at fusion-advisory.com.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it. It doesn't cost anything. So, why not make a call and get us on board? And, it's amazing how much we can save on the front end. It's a lot.
Well, what's an example of something that is there anything specific you can say, hey man, I was on this job and I saw this, and this was either something that made the job save a lot of money or something that cost the job a lot of money?
Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty simplistic example, but, let's take a medical space, for example. If you go into a property that maybe was formerly a medical space, or it has existing infrastructure, or it has a generator that the landlord will let you tie into, versus something that may be slab on grade, there is no redundancies, there is no emergency power set. You got to put all that stuff in, but you like that space better, it's going to cost a fortune. I mean, and in a first generation build, obviously there's nothing there, but when I'm more talking in the sense of a second gen build out, I mean, infrastructure, it's not old, it's not on its last leg. As much as you can read, everybody likes to save money, right? So I don't care how much money you have, you like to save money. So if you can just reuse some of the stuff, some of the items that are there, and look, I get it. People that are investment sales or putting together, funds, they don't know what I do. It's funny. A lot of my friends, very few of my friends actually outside of Cox & Co. are in construction. And they always say, they're like, man, you're like speaking another language. What are you talking about? And I do that. I don't mean to do that, but I guess it's just the terminology. And I try to tell them what to look for. And I always say, well, don't listen to me. Just bring me with you. And I can look at what I'm saying and point it and teach you, and it'll make sense, but just trust me.
Yeah. Because you've seen it done wrong. Right. And I think we learn more when we see things done wrong, and then you've probably seen it done right a lot, but when things go sideways, and those are the ones that's why 20 years of experience helps a lot. I don't want to put down a 23-year-old, but 20 years of experience, you can't buy that.
No,
you can't.
You can't.
It's good.
You can have a good work ethic, and you need that. That is vital. Yeah. But then, the experience, it just makes all the difference in the world. So,
all right, walk me through. Tell us something that not everybody knows about you.
Well, it's all probably a lot. I pray a lot. And I don't know why, but I get caught sometimes. I'll just have I'm just talking to the man above. I mean, what are you doing? Just talking to God. I just do that a lot. I don't know why that's so surprising. I don't know, but I don't know that. And probably people may laugh at this. Old football lessons, old football coaches, and just the lessons that game teaches an individual. It really lasts you a lifetime. And I know old football players always say that. It is so true. and I always just think that, it's like, don't give up, keep pushing forward. You're going to get punched in the mouth. You got to punch back harder, stay positive, pick up your teammates, everybody's pulling in the same direction. You're only as strong as your weakest links, stuff like that. That's why it's important to be a good team player and a good, captain.
Funny thing about what you just said, Greg, everything that you said that those coaches were saying, I think you could find those exact same passages in Proverbs or Matthew or Mark, like all that, hey, let's pull together. Let's dig deep. Let's work on this together. You got to keep your chin up, keep your eyes to the sky. Like, hey, Greg, there's a lot. You and I we could make that metaphor real easy between football and prayer. Like God puts coaches in in their lives for a reason.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Mike, that's my favorite thing to do outside of, actually, it might be my favorite thing to do is coach kids.
Greg, I taught spin for years, right? And I taught spin for Lifetime Fitness for a bunch of years. This is my first winter not teaching. And
you got me to start spinning, Mike.
I know. So I used to do stuff when I would teach because I'd feel like, this was a calling, right? So here I am. I got 63 people packed in this room, and I would make biblical references all the time. I'd be like, if we were doing a hard anaerobic set, I'd be like, all right, guys, I want you to go Old Testament on this bike. And everybody's like, oh man, did he just say Old Testament on this bike? I'm like, boom, that just happened. Or I'd be in the middle of it and I'd go, you have been given this vessel. It is your job. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, did he just drop a vessel on me? Like, I mean, coaches are put in places to literally drive people to be more than they believe they can do. And there's absolutely great power in that.
I mean, you got to trust in the plan. I say that all the time. You don't know. I told you earlier, I've been thrown so many curveballs. This has been one heck of a roller coaster in the last two and a half plus years. God has a plan. So you just got to prepare yourself as best you can and go out and execute,
Well, I'm going to ask you a little bit about role models and mentors, because I have a sense that your dad was a great piece in your life. Obviously, the guys at Warren Hanks were really big. You probably want to say Newt Rockney, Vince Lombardi, maybe Dooley. I'm trying to figure out where you're going to go with this one. But what's a role model that stands out that's really, really hit your heart?
My dad. My parents, my dad primarily, he's the one that he was a self-employed physician, and just forever, I can always remember him instilling confidence in me and pointing out, I guess, leadership qualities that he saw in me, whether it be around my friends or on the sports field, and, stuff that I just do. I don't really mean to. And, he was really the one to push me to go on my own and just believe that I could do it. And, he was a great role model. I didn't see him much growing up. He worked all the time, a ton. But I saw him on the weekends and some nights, and, just that whole eat what you kill mentality was put in me as far back as I can remember. So, he's the number one role model for me.
That's a good one. He's a great man. That's a good one. Hey, knows that. Greg, he's a role model to me too. I wish he was a role model to the rest of our country right now. It sounds like a great guy to look up to.
I'm telling you what, man. Yeah.
Talk to me about your mindset. What do you do? You mentioned a little bit about, obviously speaking to a higher being. Talk to me about what you do to stay so positive and keep that great energy every time I'm around you. What do you do to keep it so positive?
Well, number one, first and foremost, and I think that everybody should definitely pay attention to this, is you need to surround yourself with positive people and good people. And you know what I'm saying when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's I got a great group of friends. I feel like I got the best friends in the world. I feel like I got the best coworkers in the world here. I go to the greatest church. It's just surrounding yourself with positivity. And I tell you, because, and sometimes that's not always possible. But outside of that, I do want to put a big emphasis, because COVID kind of really put an emphasis on this in my life the past year, is eating healthy and extra, just taking care of the vessel.
Yeah.
You got to, because sometimes, you work so hard and you get careless, you eat too much fast food, or, the stress gets to you, and, it's real easy to, just lay on the couch. I can't do it. It's amazing how much better you feel when you just take care of yourself. And I'm not saying you need to be a gym rat 7 days a week. But you know what I mean? Stay active at a minimum, even if you're not in the gym. Be doing something. If you have kids, go outside with your kids, or if it's a rec team or whatever. But activity is critical.
Yeah. The best thing I heard, it was actually someone that I was at the gym, and it was one of the oldest people I've ever really talked to about fitness, and they were in their early 90s. And I asked them, I said, what's your secret? Like, how are you, 91 or 92? And this was a long time ago. I hope that person's still going to the gym. But I said, what's your trick? And he looked at me and he said, Mike, do something every day to break a sweat.
Yep.
And he just made it so basic. And you know what? I think some people can break a sweat, cleaning their house or walking their dog, or, different things. It doesn't have to be training for an Ironman. Like it can be being active. Just do it enough that it causes just a little sweat on your brow. And I think it takes you to a better place. I love that.
It's kind of funny. So this was a few years back, but, I don't know why I got into this mode of chopping wood.
You're sweating chopping wood.
We cut down a bunch of trees, and they were wanting to haul them off, and I was like, no, keep it there in the backyard. My wife really loved that, but I would love to go and just 30 minutes of chopping wood. That's hard, but it was great exercise. Mm-hmm. It was like a full body exercise, and
that's therapy. Hey, Greg, that's therapy too. Hey,
it was quick. It didn't take much, and it makes you feel good.
Last question for you. I know you're a big Georgia football fan, and I teased you about this one. I almost thought about it. I was going to ask you a different question, but I got to know, who is the second best running back ever to play for the Georgia Bulldogs?
It's tough, man. That's RBU, man. That's a
Whoa. Wait. We know Auburn is, and then USC, and then Georgia. Georgia's coming in there pretty strong. But let's just say, if you had to pick number two, we're going to say that Senator Walker is number one, but we're going to go with the number two running back ever to play at the University of Georgia.
Love Todd Gurley, but I'm not going Todd Gurley, simply because this play will live in infamy in my mind. The hobnail boot. So I'm going Veron Haynes, baby.
Oh, man. What a great pick.
And I went to high school with him. He's a good guy.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I told you there's a great tie with my brother and him playing with Justice, and, great little baseball player. So it's been fun to watch. Greg, it's been great having you on. Thank you for sharing. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, would LinkedIn kind of be the first place they'd find you?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So guys, look up Greg Cox, GREGCOX. I'm going to put your links in the show notes too, so everybody will know how to get in touch with you. Greg, thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the Office Marketing Podcast. Be sure to join the conversation on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed the episode, head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.